Hi there. My name is Rebecca Halliday, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the importance of excellent reading instruction and what is necessary for excellent reading instruction, and what you can do about it as a person or educator or volunteer who is interested in helping students become successful readers. So a bit of quick background about me. I have been running my own independent school. I'm sitting in it right now called Riverbend Community School. I've owned the school for 10 years. I have been a teacher for 14 years, and I have been a reading coach for 13 years. So what I know for sure is the struggling reader and how we get kids through the horrific experience of being a struggling reader. So what we also know right now is literacy scores across Canada and the US are abysmal. They've never been worse. I'm here in New Brunswick. I know our literacy scores are some of the lowest in Canada. So what we know is for many, many years, 30 years, basically, we have been teaching reading the wrong way. We have been using something called a balanced literacy approach, whole language. Many schools have been using something called reading recovery, and leveled readers. And we know now through science, I will say, if you don't know anything about it, listen to the podcast called Sold a Story. It's a 6-episode podcast. CBC came in and did a big 3-day investigation here with me at my school to talk about how much we have impacted our generations of readers with poor reading instruction. So I have been working in my tutoring business for years, working with all the students to dismantle the poor reading instruction that's happening in schools. Without getting too far into it, that's looked like things like having students memorize words, not building enough background knowledge. So when they finally can read words, they're making meaning from what they're reading. Leveled readers, those little leveled readers, A to Z readers, we know now are actually really poorly constructed books that have had kids do things like guess the words, take a look at the pictures. All of those things are wildly ineffective. They are still happening today, even though we know best practice and science and research has proven over and over again that is actually terribly impactful to readers. Memorizing words is not really reading a word. So there's many layers to what happened to reading instruction. So what I know is that when we moved over to the science of reading, so the science of reading and structured literacy is what we know now is the settled science. We're talking brain scans, how brains learn to read. If we use the science of reading and what's called structured literacy, kids will become readers. And I can attest to it. I have taught hundreds and hundreds of kids to learn how to read, which is wildly exciting. What's really scary, though, is having schools shift over to the science of reading and structured literacy in an effective way. I know that it's going to take years for teachers to feel supported, for teachers to feel confident, and parents to understand how to help their students using this approach. So the structured literacy approach is basically 5 big pillars. We've got phonemic awareness, phonics, we've got fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Comprehension on its own could be its own whole other thing. I digress. So what I've done is I've created my own program that has an Orton Gillingham approach. So I've done Orton Gillingham instruction for years. If you don't know much about it, it's not a program per se. Many programs are based on the Orton Gillingham approach. It's a very direct, explicit, systematic approach to learning to read. But what I will tell you is using Orton Gillingham and science and any kind of reading program that is aligned with the science of reading, students will become readers. Even the most impaired, delayed readers will learn to read using this approach. It will take some kids longer than others. However, this kind of reading instruction is what all students should be experiencing. Even students who are going to become skilled readers pretty efficiently and easily, reading is not natural. Reading isn't something that we just pick up. And many people, when we're of a certain age, are like, I think I just learned to read. You didn't. You were taught very explicitly. Some people catch on very quickly to reading, but many do not. Many more than we think do not. And it has nothing to do with intelligence. But we are in a literacy crisis in this country. So this kind of reading instruction is not just a great idea, it is imperative. And in my opinion, reading is a right. This is a social justice issue. So anything we can do to make sure that students are learning to read using this modality, which is the science of reading. Science of reading is not a program. It's a body of research over the last 20 years that proves how students learn to read. And what that's proven is we need to use all 5 of those pillars in our reading instruction every single day for it to work. If we don't use those 5 pillars, it will not work. It cannot just be phonics in isolation. It cannot just be comprehension in isolation. Okay, that's so important to understand. So what I've done is I've created my own program through years of trial and error of using other people's programs that includes all of the 5 elements, except for the reading comprehension part. Mine really focuses on students being able to hear the sounds in words, read words, build their fluency while reading words, as well as developing their vocabulary. The comprehension piece is there's so many great free knowledge building curriculums that are available online that I supplement here in my school. And I also touch on comprehension and building background knowledge with all of my tutoring families to say, you are the sleeping giant of your child's reading success. Make sure they know a lot about the world around them. So without going too much further in about how students need to learn to read, I'll show you a sample of what my program looks like. So this is an example of my short A structured literacy unit. This is a set of slides. So there's twofold. I have this available for teachers who don't want pre-recorded lessons from me, that they want to use these slides for their own teaching. So what this looks like, for example, is it gives everybody exact steps on what you need to do, background on how to use these slides. So these are Google Slides. They also come in PowerPoint. And basically I have my mascot named Ralph, and he is the lesson mascot. And I put in here exactly what you need before you start all the lessons. But then what you'll see here is, so the video portion of this is I have this all pre-recorded and filmed for people who are still not quite confident yet. They still don't understand all of the elements to a structured literacy lesson. And there's a lot of layers to what a structured literacy lesson looks like. And I will tell you, teaching reading is rocket science. If you put reading instruction in the hands of people who don't know what they're doing, really poor habits can be developed for kids. Things like guessing words, looking at pictures. When teachers or helpers or volunteers don't know a rule of why something happens in English language, the idea that we say, oh, it's too hard. It's so hard you have to memorize it. That's not true at all. We really want kids understanding the why behind how words are built and made. So that's what these do. So over here, it says exactly what the teacher needs to do. But if you were to put it in present mode, it doesn't show the instructions. So the teacher is able to read the instructions on the side and then move through these slides. So the intention is it's up on a whiteboard or on a laptop beside you at a desk, and you're moving through. So for example, in this lesson, I would say, what sound are we hearing here? We're saying apple, axe, wag. Oh my gosh, why is my image not coming up? Oh, it's because these guys pop up. Sorry. Wag, sad, alligator, cat. What sound are we hearing? And this is our introduction. We want to build from sound to words, to sentences, to passages, to meaning, and bring that all together. Okay. So we go from easy things like what sound are we hearing to more difficult. Okay. Now we know that we write the sound with the letter A. Okay. So then there's all the instructions of what to say to kids. We talk about the voice placement. We put, and this is very important, articulation. So let's put our fingers on our throat. Awesome. Are we feeling the vibration for Yes, we do. Very good. Is so our voices are on. Is it a stretchy sound? Yes, it's a stretchy sound. So these are all the things. And we say, what is our mouth doing? This is where we get out our mirrors and we look at our mouths. All of this helps kids connect the sound to the print. So that's what language is sound to print. And these steps are hugely important. And this is what's new for many teachers and educators and helpers. They're like, this is not how we learn to read. What do you mean taking out mirrors and looking at our mouths? But the science will absolutely prove that doing all of these steps in sequence every time for all 44 phonemes in the English language is critical. So things like tap, is our mouth doing the same motion? Yeah. Gap, is our mouth doing the same motion? And all the while we're looking in a mirror. So then it progressively moves on. So for example, in this slide, in this unit, in every unit, you'll see there's over 135 slides with all the instructions right here on the side of what So this is called an ear warm-up. So for example, actor, how many sounds are in the word actor, or how many syllables in actor? And we teach tips on how to really help kids understand syllables. So then all these slides are also animated, which is really great to keep kids' attention. So we say, okay, what am I saying here? Say the word was, I think it's sad. 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 Oh, and they would say sad. What word are we saying? And then the picture will confirm it. So all these things are really engaging. We're using all of our modalities, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. We're moving a ton during these lessons as well. Then we get to the word reading stage of things and so forth. So that's what my program is really all about. So yeah, and then at the end of the program, or at the end of the unit, I should say, there's decodable readers, which help student practice independently, but with many, many opportunities for repetition and exposure. So you'll see here, it moves from just writing the sound, practicing their handwriting. Many students have very limited exposure to handwriting because everything from COVID to we've moved away from handwriting instruction in schools after kindergarten. There's many reasons why, but we know that handwriting is very much linked to successful reading. We have lots of opportunities to practice orthographic mapping, which is a huge skill. For example, this one is ACT, so the kids would go act and then write it all in one. There's also a slide that has teachers guiding them. These are called fluency grids, all kinds of goodies. So that is it, my friends. That's what my program is all about. And if you are somebody who is trying to help a struggling reader, as a parent, as a teacher, as a volunteer, this is why you need support. There's so many elements to becoming a successful reading coach and a reading helper. And I would ask that you don't just try and help a reader without any background knowledge, because many times unknowingly, from a well-intended place, people are making things sometimes worse for our struggling readers. And they really need us to know, be well instructed and well advised as the reading helpers in their life. So that's where my program can come in. You can buy it as a individual thing where you read all the instructions yourself and pull it off on your own, or you buy it as a course from me, where I have pre-recorded all the videos and the lessons for you. It's all chunked up into about 10, 12-minute sections, so you can slowly go through the unit. The unit is not meant to happen in one day. It's meant to happen over time. So 1 week, 2 weeks, etc. But it's very, in the lesson guide, it's very sequential, and you have a lot of confidence built right in case you don't know what to do. This is me as your coach on the side, helping you feel confident as a reading helper. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you feel empowered with a bit more information. I also do workshops virtually and in person if you need support in getting this all going in your classroom, in your home, in your organization. All right. Bye. Reach out. info@riverbendschool.ca is my email, and I'm on social media, Riverbend Community School Facebook page. And then my Instagram is Riverbend Reba, and my website is readingrebels.com. Bye.